The Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most prestige, if not the most prestige, team and franchise in NFL and sports history. Welcome to the 2023 edition of the Steelers season hype video. A new year, a new season, and a new journey, and a new opportunity for us to achieve greatness. And I'm just gonna, get right to it. The past few seasons, the Steelers have not lived up to that standard. You can kind of bring it back to the past decade. I know we had a lot of underlying and a lot of heartbreaking losses. And for a long time, it's kind of hard too as well, because when you like a Steeler fan, you get spoiled because you see all the championship success we had. We had, Super Bowl contentions, Super Bowl victories, AFC Championship appearances, and a lot of big time battles in the most important games. And to see us not be able to get back there or not be able to win any of those, it kind of like mess up your psyche. And it kind of happens to everybody though. Eventually an era has to end. And that era of the Steeler football where we was winning all the championships have ended. But I think now it's a chance for this season to reopen that era again. But it's going back to our previous playoffs. You look at our last playoff game was against the Kansas City Chiefs. We had Benjamin Todd Roethlisberger last game, the legendary Big Ben last game, and we got smoked by the Chiefs. The game before that, you look at it against the Cleveland Browns. In our own home, we got smoked by the Browns. Before that, you look at it and you say, oh, remember the Steelers had a divisional round. They had a home field advantage against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we lose to Blake Bortles. And you look before that, blown out by the Patriots. And our last playoff win came in 2016 versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round, which we won by the leg of Wizard of Oz, hitting those 6 field goals. And we went to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Patriots badly. And to put that in perspective, that game was in 2016. I was 14 years old. I was 14 years old when we won that last playoff game. I'm now 22 years old. And then you go take it back even further. Our last Super Bowl appearance was against the Packers in Super Bowl 45 here in my hometown of Dallas, Texas. And I was 9 years old when that happened. When the Black Eyed Peas were performing, I got a feeling at halftime. I was there. Well, I wasn't there in person, of course. I wish I was there in person. But I was there watching the game as a child and rooting for my Steelers, and we fell short. And we haven't been back to the Super Bowl ever since. And it's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of just mediocreness. But one thing that I loved that I seen, even though when the roster was declining, even though the players that we had started leaving and we started losing that and we started losing respect like that, because other teams started disrespecting us a lot lately. I think one thing I liked that the team never gave in and never gave up. They kept persevering through all the adversity. See, Coach Tomlin preached the same message every single season. And I think now that right there is working off, because good things come to those who wait, and it took patience for us to build this roster back up. We lost a legendary quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback. We lost a lot of great guys. Remember Polamalu retired in 2015, and then James Harrison eventually retired and then Pouncey and all these different guys on the old line retired, and we just kind of like you see guys that started the era that's kind of ending. And now it's kind of time for us to build back into a new era. And I think this is the year for us to reopen that championship window, because the guys we have now are some guys who are very, very hungry. Look at some of the guys we have on our roster. Some of the guys who are very hungry. Guys like Kenny Pickett, a guy who had a lot of question marks. A lot of the people, even if some fans in the SteelerNation, doubted him a lot, say that he's not going to be a good quarterback, that he's a bust, he's not going to be the guy that leads in the future, not the franchise guy. And early on, we're seeing him lose, and lose. And then after the bye week of last season, we've seen something different. Because he had a few wins, but we didn't see that clutchness, we didn't see that extra oomph. But when that game he played against the Raiders, he went out there with all the pressure on him, the pressure to keep the season alive. Franco Harris passed away, RIP, and his jersey retirement was that day. And we seen Kenny Pickett go out there and do something spectacular, lead a game-winning drive. And then he said, "You want to see another one? Want to see me do it again?" The following week, he went out there and did the same thing again, and he showed you that he can fight through and play through adversity. And we've seen him in the interviews and taking accountability for the bad mistakes. They said that he watched every single incompletion to see how he can make that better. That's stuff that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's, the great quarterbacks of the world, do. I'm not saying he's those guys, but I'm just saying having those type of tendencies, going out there and taking accountability for your actions, is being a great leader. And that's what Kenny Pickett has shown us so far, that he can go out there and be the leader of this team and lead the Steelers to the new era. Another guy on the team is like George Pickens, a guy who is hungry, a guy who got drafted in the second round, supposed to have been a first-round pick, but since he got injured, a lot of teams passed upon him and he got a chip on the shoulder. He's showing them that, hey, I could have been the first-round pick. I'm better than a lot of these guys you took in the first round. I'm going to show you that countless time after time after time. Every time I step on the field, I'm going to prove that. And we've been seeing that for him for the past, last year, and for we've seen in the preseason as well. Another guy too, Najee Harris. A lot of the fans keep saying bench Najee or trade Najee or do this or do that, but Najee Harris is one of our most dynamic and most important piece, if not the most important piece on the roster on the offense, because he goes out there and account for a lot of the Steelers' plays. I think the percentage was like 40.8%. If you can combine the past two seasons of Najee with the Steelers offense, of the stuff he'd go out there and do in the receiving game, in the running game as well, and then blocking as well too. Najee go out there and put his body on the line. He go out there and put a lot of heart, and he's the full embodiment of a Steeler. So I love Najee Harris. And you see the defense. We have those guys out there, those very good guys, a future Hall of Famer in the making, and Minka Fitzpatrick, and TJ Watt, and a Hall of Famer too, in my opinion as well, Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward is very deserving of a ring. He's been a guy who's been here for a long time, and he's been very consistent, been very underrated as well. A lot of people overlooked him. They like to overlook his skills, his ability, but he has shown you day in, day out, he can go out there and make the plays that necessary. I think this team has the roster equipped to do that. So there's no more excuses about saying we don't have an O-line, we don't have a quarterback, we don't have this or that. The Steelers went out there. Mr. Omar Khan, Coach Tomlin went out there and they got the pieces. They brought the pieces in here, and now we're ready to go out there and open that championship window again and compete. And I can't wait to see us slash through the competition. One of my favorite quotes from Coach Tomlin, I know you guys, if you hear me on a video before, mentioned it many times. It's not about what you're capable of, but what you're willing to do. Because in life, anybody can be capable of being anything. A teacher, a doctor, professional wrestler, and, a basketball player, owning your own business and everything. But are you willing to do the work that is necessary to achieve that, or what you're capable of? That's what Steelers need to ask themselves as well. Are they willing to do the work that's necessary to achieve the capabilities of becoming a Super Bowl champion? And if the effort doesn't match, then it's not going to work. If you're not willing to put that effort into it, not willing to go an extra mile, then it's not going to work. So that's what the Steelers and all the players on the team need to ask themselves that. If the answer is no, then you're playing for the wrong team. But I know Coach Tomlin and Mr. Omar Khan didn't go out there and get any cats. They came out there and got some dogs. And they're going to go out there and they're going to play amazing football and leave it all out on the line. They're going to grind it to the very end, and they're going to show the world that SteelerNation is back, is here. I know for the past few years, we have not lived to the standard we're supposed to be living up to, but we're back, and we're going to play some amazing football, and I can't wait for us to show the world who we truly are. And we're going to start by being consistent. You're going to start by playing physical. You're going to start by matching your effort and execution for success. And I think the Steelers are willing to do that. So are you guys ready? That's the question. Are you guys ready to see what the Steelers have in store? For far too long, the Steelers have been at the bottom. We used to be the hunters. We used to be the predators. Now we the prey, and we're getting attacked by everybody, people disrespecting us left and right. We used to be the hunters. Let's get back to being the hunters. Let's get back to going out there and conquering teams and going out there and showing the world why we were the first team to win 6 Super Bowls in NFL history, and why we have tied the most Super Bowls in NFL history as well. Let's go out there and show the world that. That's all I got to say. I'm ready for this week. It's going to be an amazing week of football and the NFL entirety, but it's going to be a special week for the Pittsburgh Steelers and SteelerNation. I know SteelerNation is pumped up because I'm pumped up, and I'm in SteelerNation, and I know the Steelers are pumped up and can't wait to go out there. We have a first-time in a long time. We have an opener game to start the season out, and I'm very excited. So here we go, Steelers. Here we go.